Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Howdy all, this is Red O'Loughlin. We're on the Wise Ones today on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. This is my middle show of 3. I do 3 every Thursday, back to back to back. We just finished the Corner Bookstore. We're now on the Wise Ones, and my next show is called Talking Heads. The area that I really found fascinating before I got involved in TV and hosting and everything else was chemistry. I did major in it, but I fell in love with it in high school. I got a degree in it, and I got an invitation to Vietnam, and that kind of disrupted that. But not that many years ago, I fell back in love with it again. And I use that nowadays to research the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking. I look for cause and effect relationships. What causes things to happen? What can you do to speed them up, slow them down, stop them? And so I concentrate on longevity and age-related diseases. And that's what I really have a passion for nowadays. I've written books on it. I speak on it all the time. That's what I do when I'm not here in front of the TV audience. But today, in front of the TV audience, I am so honored because I have another publisher. I am a book coach. I also publish maybe 50 books I think I've done already. But I love to help people. And today I am honored. I don't have too many publishers that show up on my show. And I am super excited, literally, to find out some of the insider secrets from other people in the industry. Susan Shankin is a publisher at Precocity Press out in California, out in Los Angeles area. Susan, please join me up here on stage.
Hi, Red. So excited. Here.
You look excited too.
It's excitement and a little bit of nerves tied in with it.
Well, hopefully we'll put the nerves at ease here within the next 2 or 3 minutes.
Excellent.
Okay, so the first question is Precocity Press. Let's talk a little bit about that, and then we'll go into the background. But
okay.
How long have you had the company?
I've had the company for around a decade now.
Okay, and who are your clients? What categories do you do? Are there any exceptions?
I'm going to say about 50% of the clients are business people who want to get their message out, want to earn credibility, become authority in their industry, and also want to get new clients. Then another big chunk are people wanting to write memoirs, which a lot of people want to write memoirs nowadays. And then I get dribs and drabs of poetry books, children's books, and art books. And I do those mainly because I love those areas too. But business books and memoirs are my biggest clients.
Okay. How do people typically find you? Is it word of mouth, or do you advertise, market your business?
A lot of it is word of mouth. And if I do any sort of reach out, it's been through LinkedIn, and I've had great success with LinkedIn's program. Yeah.
Okay. On LinkedIn, I noticed that you had a few things there I thought was interesting. Some of the postings you've done, I noticed that one of them is a 12 days of Christmas. Of course, this is the Christmas time.
Yes. We just started that yesterday. My marketing person and I put that together. So just, a way to acknowledge the authors and books that we've done this year. And also, to start the celebration of the holiday.
Yeah, we have that here. One of the local PR people has been doing that for a number of years.
Oh, nice.
So is this your first year of the 12 Days of Christmas?
This is the first year. Yes. I actually, the last time I talked to Sarah, my marketing person, I said, "Are you busy with work right now?" And she said, "No, not that busy." And I'm like, "Just had an idea. Let's do 12 Days of Authors." And she turned it around really quickly. And I'm happy with what she's done so far. And I hope my authors are happy about it too.
Okay.
Because almost every day I think about how grateful and lucky I am to work with the authors I have, and it's just my way of acknowledging them and supporting them.
Okay, so you're a publisher, you're a book designer, and a
Correct.
creative director. Uh, and I look back in your history, and you've been in the design business forever and ever and ever, it seems like.
Yes, I have.
Uh, so what got you into design? What was that little thing that caused that spark of enthusiasm to say, hey, this is the right place for me right now?
Well, I grew up always doing different kinds of art. And when I got into college and I had to decide what I wanted to do, it was either fine art or design. And for me, design had a business aspect of it that made me think I could actually do this as a career. So that was the deciding factor of becoming a designer.
Okay, your company, Precocity Press, does a full range of services. Let's talk about what does your company offer?
Well, I originally started doing editing and design services, but very early on realized that I needed to broaden that to marketing, that I like to tell authors that they're going to wear two hats, one as the writer and one as the marketer. And to help support that, I've brought in some people. I've got two people that help me with the marketing. We also do, I'm aligned with PR people, we do book coaching. So I feel like people can come to me and get everything starting from the basic ideas and creating outline of their book to helping them market their book and get PR support.
Okay, so you're not a traditional publisher and
No.
you're more of an independent, but somewhat of a hybrid too. Is that right?
You know, in publishing nowadays, there's a few words to sort of explain what I do. I usually consider myself an independent publisher, and that means I'm not giving out royalties or an advance to authors, but instead, authors pay me for my services up front, and then they get to keep all the back end, all the royalties. So it's worked well for me and my authors these years. So that's the way my business is set up.
Okay, so no, I give back 100% of the author's intellectual property, and from what I saw on your website, you do the same thing.
Absolutely, yes.
So, so that is a big deal because on the traditional end of things, that's not always the case.
No, for sure, authors can end up, if they know how to market their book, they can end up making a lot more money going the independent route versus the traditional route.
Okay, so tell us a little bit, what's the process? Let's say I come to you today, say, Susan, my book is done, it's proofed, it's ready to go. Here's the cover. I need it by Christmas.
Rarely do people come to me saying that they've got the cover. Occasionally people will come to me and say, the book is written, I've had an editor, I need the design part of it. I'm thinking of actually a client that did that recently. I will say that AI is being used a lot nowadays for ideas for design. So she came to me with an idea of what AI had come up with the cover. And I took that and I did like 5 or 6 different variations and based the interior pages on the cover look that she chose. As of right now, she's proofreading it, and then it'll go back to an editor to proofread it before it's being published on KDP, which is the publishing arm of Amazon. So in a nutshell, if somebody comes that ready to me, that's the process. But most people are in writing their first draft and either need developmental or copy editing help, or sometimes coaching or ghostwriting. So it really depends. I really try to meet authors where they're at and assist them in areas that they need.
Okay, so if I'm a businessman, local area where you're at, and I need something because I speak a lot, I really need the credibility for having a book and being a published author in the field that I speak about, I would come to you and say, Susan, this is what I need to do. How do I go about doing that? Let's start the conversation. You say, yeah, I can help you. What do you tell them?
Well, first, I got to say, not very many clients are coming to me locally. I've got clients all over the country and all in Europe, so their location doesn't matter. But if they're in Los Angeles, the first thing I'd do is have coffee with them, and I'd show them books that I've previously published. I would read what they've written so far. I also give authors a questionnaire. It's 10 questions. It sort of sets the foundation of what they're trying to achieve with their book, and it also gets them set thinking about how marketing their book is going to be, because the earlier they're thinking about marketing, the better that book is going to do. So that's where I would start with somebody, and then I'd pull in an editor and really get their feedback on what they think the manuscripts need at this point, and then come back with a proposal and see if they're, open, see if the authors are open to working with me, and then we'd go from there.
One of the things I noticed on your website was the fact that as part of the process, the service you offer is, and you mentioned it right now, it's an area that authors are very poor in, and that's marketing. Yeah. So when you're looking at marketing, marketplace for books, in other words, you understand, because of the number of books you published and the change in, I'm sure during COVID that was a really big issue, but understanding the marketplace is a really, really big deal.
Yes, it is. It is a very important part of it. And the books that have sold the best, done the best, are the ones that either the author has a background in marketing, understands how important marketing is, or is willing to pay for marketing. Without that kind of marketing, they're basically going to be selling their books to friends and family. Again, when there's authors who are business people, they don't care that much about, some of them don't care so much about selling books, but it's more about getting clients. One client, having them land one client can get them, can pay for all of my services. So they look at it a big picture. It's also such a great thing to have a book. They call having a book now the new business card. It opens doors. It gets them the ability to do speaking engagement. It builds their platform. So for a lot of authors, selling a lot of copies isn't their main goal.
One of my good friends here in the Houston area in Texas, he has basically a CD-sized book, 62 pages. He's in SEO, and every year he makes 6 figures easily. And he uses it as a business card. He'll walk in and give copies of the book as a business card. So it's a big deal for business owners to have that level of credibility.
Yes, and I think, compared to authors who are writing a memoir, a business book has a lot more opportunity to have the authors achieve their goals. It's much tougher with memoirs, and so many people are writing memoirs nowadays. And I'm always straightforward with authors, especially if they say, their goal is to be on Oprah. I don't want to discourage anybody, but there's a long leap from, starting out writing a memoir and getting on Oprah if you're not a well-known celebrity.
Let's talk about covers for a minute or two.
Yeah.
I think on your website, there's a little statement there that says, covers are the window to the soul. And I thought that was really interesting because, most of us don't think about covers, but, a cover is the thing that attracts us, whether we're walking in a store or we're online. So let's reach out and grabs a hold of you and says, you really need to stop here for a minute and take a look at me. And I know you've been involved in that forever and ever and ever.
Yes, and that is truly my passion when I'm working on books, is to do the covers. Just to give you an idea of what I do, I start with a deep dive. I want to look at what similar books are looking like. I mean, you want a book that's a science fiction book to look like a science fiction book and not, a book on romance, unless it's science fiction and romance. And then I talk to the author. I like to get their ideas, and I also like to take their ideas and elevate it. I know I've had success if they tell me it's the cover is better than they can imagine. Then I'm like, check, I've done my job. And a book cover, you get 2 seconds to grab somebody's attention. So it really needs to be impactful. It needs to be interesting. The type needs to read well. I mean, there's a lot of components to make a cover look well. And truly, your book cover is going to be your biggest marketing tool that you have. So you better get that right for sure.
My last client, I published a book for him last week. He's 45 years as an opera singer around the world, 25 years as a college professor. And typically on my business, covers are the most time consuming aspect. I don't do the design. I hire it out usually through Fiverr.com. And if I find a good one, I stay with him for a while. Mm-hmm. The guy that I had 3 or 4 really good covers, good service. All of a sudden, I don't know if he's going through a divorce or got a DUI. I have no idea. All of a sudden, I can't get anything out of him. And we got a little frustrated. He needs the book by January. It's already published. So it wasn't an issue of timing with him. But the issue was he says, this is what I want. I said, I spell it out. And even though the guy speaks English very well, I got just the opposite of what I wanted. And I'm saying, if I had here, I'd pull it out. But the issue, and it turned out that my client went on to AI, designed his own cover, and said, this is what I want. And it still took us about 3 iterations to get it exactly the way we wanted it. But he's happy with it. But covers, in my end of things, are very time consuming. I tell people I can publish a book in a week if everything is done. But if the cover is not there, I'm more than willing to work with you and handle that part of it. But it's just, that is the one area that you're relying. I mean, myself, when I do my books, I typically go to Fiverr and I ask 5 different designers I've never seen before. Here's my title. It's give me something. I want to see their intellectual property. What do they get out of that? And then I put that on social media. I say A or B, B or C, C or D, because I know me as an author, I know what I like.
Yeah.
But as a reader, I don't know what I like in my own books. And so that's an issue that I need to come to grips with, is that what I like may not necessarily be what the marketplace needs.
Very
it's not
true.
like you have that skill, that talent of knowing, well, this cover, it's okay, but it's not going to hit that marketplace. And I think that's one of the real skills. As I was going through your background, looking at everything, looking at the covers, looking at all the awards and everything, what I see about at least a page and a half of Amazon #1 new releases. Your books, and through the design work and everything, you do an absolutely amazingly marvelous job at what you do. So I congratulate you on that.
Thank you. That really touches me that you say that. I bring a sense, I let people know that when they are working with me, they are hiring me. I am not, I have some designers that I work with, but I'm not farming out my projects to anybody else. That when they're working with me, if there's a problem, they're coming to me. I don't have a big company. I've really created my business that suits me, that I become a partner with the author, and that every step along the way, I'm doing the work. I'm making sure it's hitting the mark. I'm making sure we're hitting our deadlines. And, for a cover, I'm really spending some time and thought on it and working with the author to get what they feel, because at the end of the day, they're going to be living with that cover for the rest of their life. And, some people have written books that have taken them years. I have one author, it took her 20 years. And the quality of the cover should reflect that. It just shouldn't be something that's thrown together. It should have as much thought to it as possibly can within, the budget and time allotted.
I notice when I'm going through a bookstore and I see, an author I know, I don't recognize the title. He did this in 2001, but the cover is totally different. They've come back and remarketed the book 20,
does.
25 years later with a new cover.
That
And
happens. Also, a second edition can have a new cover. Sometimes publishers will buy an existing book and they'll be republished and do it. And actually, sometimes they'll start with a hardcover, will have one cover, and then the paperback will have a different cover. So that's kind of standard. They'll see this is working, or there could be a myriad of reasons why a cover would change in the process.
Okay, we're getting ready to go to break here very quickly. It's about a minute and a half. When we come back, Precocity Press. Let's talk about there's something in that name that is telling me I need to ask you more about that. That's kind of an unusual name. So Susan, we'll be back in just a moment.
Okay, great.
That's where the direction I want to go after the break.
Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now.
In a noisy world, true connection begins with listening. Elevated listening transforms every conversation in just 5 simple steps. Pause and breathe. Set your intention. Listen with curiosity. Reflect back. Agree on one next step. Join the Listening Mentor on Let's Finally Talk with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the Listening Mentor, where we help you find inner peace, one conversation at a time. Streaming every day. Let's Finally Talk TV show with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, only here on USA, Global TV and Radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channels to watch and engage with all our content.
Howdy, Red O'Loughlin here. We're back again on The Wise Ones on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. My guest today is Susan Shankin, and she is the publisher of Precocity Press out in Los Angeles. Susan, please join me back up here on stage.
Hi, Red.
Howdy again. Precocity Press. What's the genesis of that?
I was sitting at a press check, and if nobody's familiar with that, it was traditionally offset printing, and it was a very tough job. There were a lot of weird components to it. And I had been there at least 12 hours, and it was running into the middle of the night. And at that time, I was starting a new publishing company. And I was thinking of words, titles. And all of a sudden, I thought, I really feel like to be a writer, you have to be a bit of a genius. I mean, that we all learn how to write, but able to write, to communicate to another person, to have them be able to understand what that means. So I just did a search online, and the root of genius is precocity, or precocious is what we use. So it just hit me, and I have to say, at times I've struggled if it's the best name of a company that most people can't pronounce it and don't understand it. But a few people do. And I'm like, okay, well, people get to learn a new word working with me.
Well, I've heard of precocious.
Yes.
That's been around forever and ever and ever. I've never heard of precocity. So that's a new one for me today. So, thank you very much for helping me learn something new.
So it's a good decision to name it Precocity, or have I made it harder for people?
Maybe both.
Okay, yes.
One of the terms in publishing that I've been to a number of different conferences that I asked people, in fact, I'm getting ready to go to another conference here in a couple of months, imprint.
Yes.
You're an imprint of over and above creative.
Yes.
Tell me your understanding of imprint and how it works in your business.
And again, the different ways to describe a type of publishing I do has a myriad of definitions, and an imprint does also. I started over and above with my partner, Rick Benzel, and that was our big umbrella company. And within that, companies, publishers can have smaller imprints that are specific to a certain area or genre. I think we've got 3 or 4 imprints, and Precocity, which is totally my company, is one of them.
Okay. So it's more of a company delineation. Is that a fair statement?
That's a great way of saying it. Yes.
Okay. Because I've heard it many times and I still don't have a firm grasp in my mind. I know, yes, this and it's this, but I think you helped me out a lot right there when you started. Here's what I had, and here's the way it came about. So thank you for that.
Like there's Random House, which is a big publishing company, and they may have 100 smaller imprints, and a lot of those imprints are companies that they've bought and brought into their company. Originally, I started working at Jeremy P. Tarcher, one of the only publishers in the 80s and 90s. They got bought by Putnam, and now they are an imprint of Putnam, but they keep their name, their identity, and a lot of times their original people will work for them, at least in the beginning.
What do you find to be the most difficult thing working with authors?
That is such a good question. I'm going to tell you what I find most difficult is when, this may sound bad, is when they don't trust me and can't give up control. A lot of authors, some authors, not a lot, are so connected to every word that they say. And when an editor will come and say, it will read better if you cut out this part or move it, and they're so attached to it. It's called in the industry killing their darlings. That can be very difficult for authors to let go of what they think is right and trust the professional.
So it's kind of like telling them their kid is ugly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And they call it killing their darlings, but they'll say killing their babies. That's how attached authors will be to their words. But that always seems a little too harsh for me. So I prefer killing their darlings. Yeah.
Keeping it a little more politically correct, I guess, in that one. I've had a variety of things that are really challenging. I think I had one book over 400 hot links that I had to verify all of them, and almost 200 photos, 176, I think, in one book. And I've had a couple with 100 chapters. What do you find to be in publishing more difficult aspect of the actual process to deliver a final product?
Well, I think, at the end of the day, it has to be the editing, because no matter how the cover looks or how it's laid out, you've got to be able to connect with your readers. And that's where an editor can really make a manuscript shine and make it so much more approachable. That would be the area that I would say needs the most attention and needs to be worked the most, and sometimes the most laborious in part of it too.
Are you using AI much in the publishing end?
It's very specific that Amazon, which 99% of all my books are published through Amazon, that they do not accept AI to write a book, to create images. They don't. The first 6 months of AI, it was like the Wild West on Amazon, and they just put the stop on it. So yes, you can use AI to research, to do some editing, to inspire, but a human person has to create the book, the cover, the writing. So it's supplemental more than anything else. But, there's a lot of people I'm talking to nowadays that they're surprised that their book won't be accepted on Amazon because it's written in AI, and they've got to go back and rewrite their book in their own voice.
Well, there's a little block that you check there. Was AI used in?
Exactly.
But, if I'm using it for research, okay, I did use it, but it's not in the book. It's my words.
Exactly.
So I don't check that one. But I've had some covers. I had a client that he wanted an 1850s mid-Texas house with a windmill, because that was what he needed. And so I went to AI, I got 5 different covers, and I sent it to him. I said, which ones you like? He said, A and C. I said, okay. So I sent that to Fiverr. I said, this is what my customer likes, but he has to have these other things there too. And so when we finally got one back, boom, he fell in love with whatever the final change was. He says, add this or that. So I think AI in cover design is almost needed, because sometimes you can't create what you have, but you can take something and modify it, tweak it, make it better. What's your thought on that?
I don't think AI is needed. I mean, we've had hundreds of years of publishing books and covers without AI. Can it be an added help? Yes, for sure. But I think an illustrator, I've just recently worked on a children's book. I'm publishing a children's book, and I created, they call it a book dummy. It's sort of laying out the type and getting images together. And I created that using AI, but sent it to the illustrator, and she's going to use her creativity and her inspiration. It's just a starting point. It's not the
Yes.
end all be all. And I have found using AI can be very limited. In this children's book, there's a shrimp dancing. It couldn't understand it, you know? So I'm like, okay, AI can do so much, but not everything.
Yeah, I'm very, very particular with my AI, because I take about 2 pages of prompt to tell him who he is and everything I want to know, where I
Yeah.
want him to look. So there's a lot of things there that people just ask a question and boom, you get something back. But I get information because I'm a researcher.
Yes.
I have to go to other places to make sure. And fortunately, he gives me a lot of the places where he did the research at, which I asked for. And I asked a question yesterday, I think a pretty simple one. And all of a sudden I'm seeing, all these different sites he's going to, boom, 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 boom. Okay. And I keep waiting and waiting and waiting. About, 30 seconds, 45 seconds. I finally get an answer back. Not the answer I wanted, because the answer couldn't be found, but I know that he did a pretty deep dive into that. So I think AI as a tool, just like a spell checker,
Exactly.
can be used, but you got to be careful in the publishing end. You can't check that box, because now you're telling Amazon that you didn't really do this. It's not your intellectual property. And I think so long as you don't check that box, you're in pretty good shape.
Yes, I agree. I also have to say that the look of AI, like I can tell what's AI, and it has a certain look that's not very appealing to me. It's a little too slick. I much would prefer working with an actual illustrator who can create something that looks in a style not like everything else. And this reminded me, I just read this article where there was a book cover competition, and 2 of the books were disqualified because they were AI created. They said that the authors didn't realize it. It was hard looking at it not to think that that the author didn't realize that these covers were AI generated, because they look so AI generated. But that's a consideration for people to keep in mind too, that it's not considered a reliable way to create covers at this time. It may change, 6 months, 2 years, maybe. This will all change, but for right now, no.
Okay, so you help authors with the paperback, ebook, audiobooks, and hardcovers?
Correct. Yeah.
So the full gambit of that kind of publishing. What about, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's been interesting these last 2 years. The majority of the authors that I publish want an audiobook along with it. It's just becoming standard, like what an ebook was 15, 20 years ago. So that's people like to listen to books now when they're driving or exercising or, yeah.
Do you do any video trailers for your marketing?
I love when authors will allow us to do book trailers. I think, as with a movie trailer, they can be really helpful and really set a tone and a good starting of a marketing tactic for books.
I use AI to generate my 30, 45, 50-second videos that I put on
Great.
social media. And I go into like Chat GPT first, and I say, here's what I want. Give me a 36-second video, and that comes back, and I look at it. Okay, let's change this. And then I go into my AI for video design, and I say, boom. And then I take a look at what they have, how it sounds, maybe change a picture that they have in there. But I find that to be 10 minutes worth of work to have something that's now available and looking fairly professional. So with AI, I think in the video trailer business, that is a major area that's almost a no-brainer for time and cost.
I agree. And I will say that with marketing, we're definitely using AI to generate headlines, to generate ideas and reach out. So I am using AI, but not for writing books or designing books.
Okay, so for marketing books, it may be fine, but for
Yeah.
writing, I totally agree with you. You know, it's the intellectual property of the author.
Correct.
And for designing, I can still see, as you said, it's a step to get into a designer's mind of what I'm really looking for, and then let that designer's intellectual property take over from there. So it's just like a spell checker. It's a tool to get started or end or whatever. But I use AI a lot, particularly when I finish writing. I said, proof it for 7th grade level education.
Okay.
And because I write a lot of technical stuff and I want to make sure that I have that level of understanding. And for me to go back and change things, it just, I can't do it. I have to have someone else do it. So,
Yes, absolutely.
okay. Have you written any books, Susan?
I co-wrote a book, and actually I have it right here. It's called Launch It, the 7 stages to finally writing and publishing your book. Even though, a big shout out to my co-publisher, Rick Benzel. He did the majority of the writing. I wrote the section on the design part of it and helped with some of the marketing. I designed it, laid out the pages. So to say that I'm an author, yes, but I would say more like a co-author, a semi-author.
But a lot of your intellectual property is in that book.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. So you're an author.
I am. Yes.
And your name's on the cover.
My name is on the cover. And again, a way for us to get clients, a way for authors to understand the process, like a deep dive in how to publish a book and the steps involved. Yeah.
Yep. One of the first books I was published in, well, no, I was back in corporate world. I had a couple things I was in international logistics that I published. But I was in my entrepreneurial days that I am in the last 20 years, 57 other authors and myself were on the cover of the book.
Wow.
And I had one chapter in there. And I go back years later, I can't find that book anymore. It's no longer in print.
Wow.
I wish I had saved it or ordered it way back then, but I didn't. Susan, we're getting down toward the end of the show. How do people get in touch with you and anything else you want to say that we didn't cover today?
Well, first off, thank you. This was a real honor to talk to you. I really enjoyed it. If somebody wants to get in touch with me, they can go to my website, precocitypress.com. I'm also on LinkedIn under my name, Susan Shankin, or Precocity Press. And yeah, those are the best ways to reach me.
Okay, so for our audio audience, Precocity, Precocity, like Precocity if you were not pronouncing it correctly. So precocitypress.com. Susan, thank you so very, very much for your time today. I really learned a lot as another publisher and as an author. It's always great talking with people, as you say. Become a member of a book club because there's just so many things out there that people are willing to share. And I find authors really willing to share a lot of information.
Absolutely.
And I look forward, maybe next year, 2026, we're going to bump into each other again. And I'm sure there's going to be some new stories you can tell me.
Well, if you need a cover design, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you.
I appreciate that greatly. Susan, thank you again.
You're welcome. So nice to meet you and talk with you.
Okay, take care now. Red Laughlin here. We're getting ready to wrap up my second show today called The Wise Ones. The corner bookstore was done an hour ago. My middle show today is called The Wise Ones, and we had Susan Shankin in today, Precocity Press. And then my next show starts in about 25 minutes, and it's called Talking Heads. And I'm talking today about hormone optimization after the age of 50. There's a lot of things that change in our body as we get older, hormones being one of several. And as you start getting less in the communication channels and all that stuff that's going on in our body between the cells, I don't want to say don't understand, because it's not a matter of understanding. It's a matter of awareness. We're not even aware of some of the things that are going on. So from my perspective, I like to provide the awareness of something, a little bit of the education, but enough to say, when you go to the doctor, hey doc, what about this? And that's something that I feel, if I can give you a question to ask your doctor, then I've done my job. So Red O'Loughlin here, tuning out on the Wise Ones Today on the USA Global and TV Radio Network, and catch you all next week. Bye now.
Which of these 5 statements sounds mostly like you? 1. I often wake up in the middle of the night worrying about my future. 2. I'm angry or resentful towards a specific person. 3. I have anxious, obsessive, compulsive thoughts throughout the day. 4. I have an addiction like smoking, drinking, shopping, sugar, or social media. And 5, I feel that I'm wasting away my life. Hello, I'm Dr. Alkistis Agio, and for over 25 years, I've been coaching and training people from all over the world to transform their fears, insecurities, anxiety, and anger into mental and emotional freedom. I'm confident that my simple 3-step method based on Greek philosophy can help you to transform into the joyful, confident, free human being that you deserve to be. I want to invite you to join my weekly online coaching group to finally get the results that you want. Look, you've tried it alone so far, and you've had some okay results. But let's face it, you're still feeling stuck right now, spinning your wheels. Einstein said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Now, unless you realize this as a fact, that you are a prisoner of your own mind, you can't move forward. I'm here to support you, as well as the whole community that we are co-creating. Stop feeling stuck. Stop feeling depressed. You don't have to do it alone, and alone isn't working anyway. Sign up today, and I'll meet you on the inside of our amazing weekly group call. I guarantee that you'll make progress from the very first session.
Get ready to wear the brand that's changing the world of media. Introducing the official USA Global TV and Radio online store. From our TV show hosts to our incredible global guests, you asked, we delivered. Rep your appearance with pride. Whether you've been on air, hosted a show, or tuned in, we have something just for you. Visit us at usaglobaltvradioshoп.myspreadshop.com and start shopping today. Check back frequently. We're dropping fresh new designs all the time. Showcase your role in our global community. These designs celebrate your voice, your story, your presence. It's more than just merchandise. It's a movement of hope, inspiration, education, and elevated listening. Head to usaglobaltvradioshoп.myspreadshop.com. Your spotlight awaits. USA Global TV and Radio. Elevate your style. Elevate the world.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.